Hi everybody. I haven't done a real video in a while, and I'm going to do one today. uh, some days with chickens, you just wonder why in the heck you're still doing this. I'll tell you a little story. Hang on. I'm going to let you watch Bash and his girls out here. I think I just stepped in an ant bed. Great. Well, I don't know. Chicken porn. Here we go. Supposed to be dust bathing Bash. Really? I mean, I'm sitting on a stump over here. The other day, I let one of my old hens group, I called it Old Hens Group Number 2. Contains 8 hens. One of them happens to be my half blue wheat and Americana, half Easter egger hen, Moretta. And Moretta's a friendly girl, but she's not a girl who likes to be picked up a lot. She doesn't beg to be picked up like some of my hens. So she's not needy, put that way. Well, Moretta followed me all over the place, and she followed me and begged to be picked up over and over and over again. I picked her up, and I said, "What is wrong with you today, darling?" And she just settled into my chest, and I put her down, and she'd follow me everywhere and begged to be picked up again. I couldn't figure out what was the deal with this girl. Well, I let her run around, and I didn't pick her up anymore until it was time for them to go in to their pen. And I called them in, and all the girls came in, and she was the last one through the door. And I said, "Come here, baby, come on, it's time to go in." And I reached and picked her up. And this time when I picked her up, I happened to run a hand under her left wing. And it felt like a big old glob of dried poop or something under her wing. I said, "What have you got under here?" And I lifted her wing up and I looked, and it was a big scab. And now remember, these girls don't have a rooster with them. Underwing injuries normally are from a rooster. Well, they have no rooster, and no rooster's gotten to them. And I thought, what is this? Then I felt another one. And I looked under her wing, and there were 2 giant, round, raised up areas with 2 giant scabs on them. I called my husband, who happened to be outside, and he came in. I said, "We got to take her to the house. We got to see what this is." So, bless her heart, she settled into my arms and let us take her up there. I laid her on her right side to look at these things, and we were spraying them with Vetericin, which is it's a wound spray that's really healing. It's a really good one. And trying to clean them up. And the scabs were kind of loose, like they weren't moving really, but they were loose. And I went ahead and pulled them off, and the places started bleeding, and you could tell there was infection underneath them. And I thought, what are these things? Are they tumors? Are they 2 feather follicles that went crazy and just kind of abscessed? Or what is this? And so I cleaned her up, and I took photographs. And I sent them to a veterinarian friend of mine. And she said, they look like abscesses more than anything else, but they could be tumors, could be necrotic tumors. And she said if they're abscesses, they would respond to treatment, and if not, if they're the other, they won't. And so we started treating her, and it's been going on for a week, and they were getting, where they were drying up, and she didn't have a bandage around her anymore, and she was back with her people. And there's a big commotion in the barn yesterday. I went in there, and there's blood all over the floor. I guess she'd been grooming herself. She pulled one of the new scabs off, and it was just bleeding like crazy. So here we go again. And in the middle of all this stuff, one of the new little girls, Hector's daughters, who are, he's only got the two hens his age, and he's got Jill, his hens, Jill's daughters, Jane and Maddie, in there. And they're laying eggs and everything, and they should be integrated. Well, I found Jane desperate to get out the other day, and, she was going crazy trying to get out of that pen. And I said, "What's wrong, Jane?" I picked her up, and her back of her head was split wide open. It looked like her mother. Her mother's been very mean. She probably had her by the head feathers and pulled, and Jane pulled backward, and it split straight across the back of her head. So here we go, another injury. I sprayed it with Vetericin. It looked like a very clean tear, and separated her for a brief little bit. And as it started to close up, I put her back with her sister, and I separated those two into a pen. And in the meantime, I'm still dealing with Moretta's, whatever they are on her side. I don't know. She's energetic. She seems good. She's fine, you know. But and bless her heart, she made sure I paid attention to her that day. I mean, I'm not one to try to attribute a lot of human characteristics to these birds, but they are certainly smarter than you give them credit for, chickens. And she made sure that I paid attention to her that day. And every time we had to treat her, she's been getting penicillin shots for a week. Every time we had to treat her, she would lay still as she could be with her head tucked under my arm and let us do anything we wanted to her. The only time she'd flinch is when she got the shot. And so it's almost like she was asking for help. It's the craziest thing. I mean, I know people think I'm crazy, and I don't normally say stuff like that, but that was just so out of character for her to be that way. But in any case, now I've got two issues going on. And then I find my 11-and-a-half-year-old black Americana Gypsy hiding in the nest box. This is not Gypsy. Gypsy's energetic. She may be old, but there's nothing wrong with her except maybe her joints a little stiff from time to time. So I find her hiding in a nest box. And her poop smells really, really bad. It's like if you've ever had a dying bird, you know that there's a really bad smell to their poop and to them. And she almost had that smell. And I thought, well, she is 11-and-a-half. She could just be on her way out, you know. So I've been watching Gypsy. And, you know, I'm very attached to Gypsy. Gypsy is my girl. Jamie, Gilbrook Farm, she's got a black Americana named Tammy, and she knows the personality that bird has, and my Gypsy's very much like her. So, you know, it's like one thing after another. It's like, can we have one day without a problem? And some days are like that. I've had chickens for, oh my goodness, over 13 years now, and it's just one problem after another. Thank God nobody so far this year's gone broody. Moretta, though, one I'm treating for those weird places on her side, because I separated her into the hospital cage, she all of a sudden, she doesn't poop in there at night. She acts like she's broody, and she doesn't poop at night, and she waits till the morning, and then she poops big like a broody, and she's starting to cluck. So all I need is for a hen who may be dying to start going broody and die in the middle of having babies. I don't even know what's going on anymore. So this is the crazy stuff about having chickens. It's like just when you think you've seen everything, all of a sudden you see something, you have no idea what you're looking at. And I've seen cysts on the rear end of birds, you know, just cysts that they're not infected, they're just big cysts, and, you know, they contain things like humans can have cysts that will contain teeth and hair and all kinds of stuff. That was the kind of cyst one of my Delawares had. When she passed away, I went ahead and cut open her cyst, and it had all kinds of bizarre stuff in it. Well, I know I have another blue rock has the same kind of cyst. Well, this is nothing like that. These are two giant, the size of a quarter to half dollar piece on the side of on her left side, just less than a quarter inch apart. And I thought feather follicles, but, you know, I don't know. They could be cancer. I have no idea what I'm dealing with. All I can do is treat them, hope they're not bleeding all over the place, and that she's not getting picked on. And she's pretty bossy, and she's very energetic, and she's still laying. So she's not really getting picked on. And then I've got the little girl who had the split head. Guess what happened today? Her own sister picked on her and tore her head open again. So, you know, some days you wonder, why am I still doing this? And I have the Brahmas, and I love the Brahmas. But honestly, I don't know. I'm dealing with a husband who's got health issues, and we can't keep up with the place, and the chickens are trying my patience right now with one thing after another. I don't know. I've really pretty much decided I'm going to let my chickens die out over time, and I'm going to end up going to just a laying flock. I might get a little coaching rooster to watch out for. I'm bantam coaching, because I had a great little bantam coaching rooster that was he ruled with a little iron beak. He was a good little guy, and he had a great crow, and he was just as protective of the hens. And you know, of course he's not going to do things to be a sacrifice, but that's what a big rooster would do too. They might hold off a predator for 2 seconds longer than a little one, but you know, they're still going to be a sacrifice. So that's kind of where we're headed right now. And this garden space right here, we're about ready to till this up. We moved the garden space closer to the house. And we're going to do tomatoes and peppers and stuff up there. And in here, we're probably going to do some peas, Crowder peas, because we love those. Much better than green beans. I love Crowder peas. And Cora, what are you eating? You're eating a piece of plastic on the ground. Will you stop being stupid? Goodness gracious. Ugh. Well, anyway, that's my long story for the day. You know, just when you think you've seen it all, there's something else you haven't seen and don't know how to deal with. And I'm lucky that I have the ear of a veterinarian who also owns chickens. Most vets don't know a lot about chickens because they basically choose not to. They don't want to deal with chickens. Chickens are food animals to them. But that's the way it is. So, you know, some really just don't really know that much about chickens, and they don't want to treat chickens. But she is a chicken owner and breeder herself, and, you know, she's in another state, but she does her best to help me out long distance. I'm ever grateful for that. Thank you so much. I won't say your name. She doesn't want anybody to know she's a veterinarian because she's on the farm with me. But in any case, that was my long rambling talk for the day about the perils of keeping chickens. And what are you looking at, girl? Is there a hawk up there? One of my girls keeps looking up. I don't know what she's looking at. Well, I will talk to you guys later. I guess you've watched these guys dust bathing enough. These, what I call bromelephants. When they run down the barn aisle, it sounds like a herd of elephants. We'll talk to you guys later. That was just my the perils of chicken keeping story for the day. I'm sure there'll be another one. There always is. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.